My name's Chef Christian. Welcome to the Experience Food Group. I'm Christian. I'm gonna teach you guys to cook recipes and be rad. We're done with trying to be pretentious cooks that wear white. You're like me. You wanna know how to cook with cheap stuff at home and make a great meal and make people say, wow. If they don't say, oh my God, or wow, I promise you, you failed. I'm here to teach you today how not to fail at biscuits and gravy. The truth is, it kicks ass and it's rad, so I hope you produce it right and don't fail me. Pressing on to the ingredients. These ingredients have been assembled from the cheapest possibility out of necessity for my family and the willingness to give them great food and make them think that I'm a king. You make this recipe, your family's gonna think you're like a king. You're gonna put off a glow when you walk in the room like, ooh. That's how they're gonna think of you. You're gonna be famous. I made sure that it was cheap and I could always provide it. As far as the pan goes, you're gonna definitely want to use your heaviest pan you got in your house. Cast iron pan, that's what I'm using. I find that it holds the temperature a little better, so you're gonna want to use a heavy bottom pan. All the blobbity blobbity done. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to start our pans! Yeah! Here we go, gals and guys. We're off in cooking. First thing I'm gonna do when I start to cook is I adjust my flame. Pro tip, when heating up the pan, don't want to heat up the pan too hot. I need to look at you guys. Sorry, we're gonna get better at this stuff as we go. Let my pan's pores open up and get up to temperature before I drop this bacon onto there. If I was to drop cold bacon onto a cold pan, they're gonna stick together. We don't want that to happen. I might even put just a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of my pan so that it doesn't stick my bacon, allowing that to heat up with the pan too. Our pan's up to a medium degree, we're gonna go ahead and drop the bacon. I just drop it in there, making sure to cover all of the pan. And I'm just spreading the bacon out evenly across the pan. Make sure to use all of the heat. A lot of people have clumps in one area and they don't realize that that cooks unevenly because the other side of the pan will get hot. It is absolutely essential that you pay attention as I teach you guys how to control the fire and heat here in this recipe so that we don't burn this bacon nor mess up the fat rendering that we're going to use for our roux. I know those are fancy words and you probably don't know them. I halfway don't know them myself either. It's the fancy way of saying the stuff that we're going to make the gravy out of. We don't want no burnt crap in there. It tastes bad. I go ahead and pepper them. I don't salt the bacon because bacon has a lot of salt and adding that to the end. The rule of Bacon Club number 1 is don't burn the bacon. Bacon's heated up to the temperature of the pan. Lower your temperature, your pan's going to climb and heat at that point and tend to want to burn. So I'm going to coin the word vampire today. I use the word vampire. It means to take the essence of an object and put it into another. So I'm going to vampire it out of this bacon and shove it into my gravy, turning the gravy into something magical and better than it was. My bacon's looking absolutely phenomenal and exceptional. I hope you're with me and yours does too. Going on now. Make sure you cook that bacon through. Cooking out till it's at a point where it's starting to get crunchy but not wanting to burn. You'll also notice all of the water content will have cooked out of your bacon, leaving only that fat rendered in the bottom of the pan. Don't rush it. We need that fat for the roux. My bacon's perfectly done now. We're gonna pull it out and let it have some time to rest and think about what it's about to become. My dogs are down there just begging for the stuff. So on a consistent basis, the thing that I get asked most is how much flour do I use when I'm making a gravy? That seems to be everyone's question, and I guess that was my question for many years while making gravy was how much flour actually goes in your gravy. You're gonna find that with this little tip, I'm gonna teach you guys that making gravy becomes much, much easier. I'm gonna go ahead and pour off that bacon grease with that bottom fond in there, and it leaves me quite a bit. Say somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 tablespoons of grease in the bottom of that pan there. I've gone ahead and put my temperature to low. When adding the flour to the pan, we're gonna add just enough. If I had to measure it out for this amount of oil that I've been doing 1 pack of it, it's been about 1/3 of a cup. The trick to the whole thing is putting just enough flour to make the texture of your roux the right texture. So I put a little bit in. I'll take my wooden spoon and I'll go ahead and incorporate it into the oil. This is gonna make probably about 6 cups. The amount of flour and roux that you make is going to control the volume of milk that we add. That is, again, one of the key points. I got stuff all over my hands. I'm going to go wash them real quick. Now that I've washed my hands and stopped being a filthy wreck, we can go ahead and start focusing on this roux. So what we're looking for is the texture you're seeing here in my pan, cooking out that flour flavor that you taste. The important part here is paying attention, keeping this on a really super low flame, okay? Roux tends to burn. Don't walk away from this. This is, again, not a recipe we can just walk away from ever. Making good gravy requires your attention through this whole thing. The smell of the roux, when it's right, it's gonna start to smell toasted and kind of like a toasty, almondy smell. It is definitely applying these techniques that are gonna make you a better gravy maker than other people. We're gonna go ahead and put this bacon back into the dish. We're gonna put the body back into it. We keep everything. No one gets any of our flavor. Let's talk about the milk, guys. The milk I've heated up. I'm actually using milk. A lot of times I use cream candy better. It's a little bit of a thicker flavor and it definitely holds a little better oxygen, giving you that silkiness that some people love in their gravy. For this recipe, we're keeping it real simple. I told you guys we're gonna produce this on a level that everyone can produce. I'm just using whole vitamin D milk that I've heated up for 3 minutes in my microwave. The reason we've heated our milk is to make sure that as we incorporate slowly, it doesn't break apart. Breaking apart means when it separates, and that's because you put a cold and a hot object together. Temperature up to a high, or medium high at least. We're gonna slowly pour in the milk. Now this is a very important part, guys. When we're pouring this milk in, we don't want to incorporate too fast. We want to just wisp it in. You can see how I'm doing it, and slowly pour a little bit in. Bring it into the fold, wisping it more in, pouring more in. We're trying to maintain that temperature, that perfect temperature, which is right at a boiling point. If we can maintain that as we build this gravy, there's no way it'll separate. Incorporating each step, just little by little. Roux worked out phenomenal. That velvety texture by continuing to stir on a low temperature, incorporating oxygen that's getting trapped as the gravy thickens. Clean the sidewalls, clean that bottom, whisk it around some. As that builds, that bacon's gonna build into that flavor. We'll season it up at the end. If you tasted the gravy right now, it wouldn't have much flavor. Now we're going to start to build our flavor profile. I like to start with the pepper because that will allow me to adjust the actual pepper flavor in the gravy. So you use cracked pepper, it's probably better. It's going to release a more aromatic and definitely a stronger pepper flavor. I'm using this one just again out of necessity for my family, and I know that a lot of you out there just have regular pepper in your house. It's going to make me sneeze. Uh-oh, pepper sneeze. Nope, I fought it off. On to salt. I use kosher salt because it's rad, it kicks ass, harder to over salt. I've been using it since I started cooking and I'm comfortable with it, so that's why I've chosen to use it in this recipe as well. I don't have a certain amount. I salt and taste. It's very important that you taste your gravy, man. You cannot be cooking something amazing and awesome and tell me that you haven't tasted it. How would you possibly know? My gravy changes every single time I cook it. It's built by me. It's a handcrafted thing. It's not something that you can just duplicate. It's something that's done by you that you're gonna make rad because you've tasted it, you've checked it each time. I know people think that it's crazy. It's being fed to my family. I just dip my finger in it. I've got pepper and salt in the dish. Let's go on to something that's gonna add some acidity. I like to use about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I find that the apple cider vinegar, most people wouldn't think to put this in a gravy. It kicks the palate off to give them another diversity in flavor. Layer those flavors on their tongue in a way and such that their brain can't comprehend it and their mind and heart goes, oh my God, or wow. And man, now that bacon flavor just came out. If you've oversalted or over thickened, feel free to add a little bit more warm milk. For me, I like a texture that rolls off the spoon slowly and maybe gets 2 or 3 droplets before falling. So we're gonna pull this off. I'm gonna throw it on some biscuits. We're gonna feed the family. Let's go. Looks like we're at the end of the first one. We got it under our belt. I'm super happy. I was quite a bit nervous to talk to you guys, but overall I'm really glad you guys are here and I'm really excited to create the next one. So enjoy the biscuits and gravy. Please give it a shot. I hope your family loves it as much as mine, and I'll see you guys on the next one.